Welcome to Golden Speakers of Fairfield, Iowa. I'm Cindy Traynor, Sergeant at Arms, and you are watching Golden Speakers on Tuesday night at 7:45. Please join me in warmly welcoming our club president this evening and every evening until July 1st, Rhonda Whitaker.
Thank you, Sergeant at Arms Cindy. Yes, my name is Rhonda Whitaker. I have the privilege of being president of this wonderful club. I like seeing all of you here tonight. I don't see any guests, but one
I'm
guest.
still a guest.
Hi. Hi. Would you like to tell us your name again? Because
Took some time off and I'm back. Annette Estes.
Annette, welcome. Glad to see you again. I hope you had a good holiday. The mission of our club is something that we discuss at the beginning of every evening. Every evening meeting, 7:30 right here in our location. We are moving our location. On March 4th, we'll be in the Hy-Vee Community Club Room. Let's hear it.
And from then on.
And from then on, continuing on until further notice. The mission of our club is to create a supportive and positive environment in which members have the opportunity to learn speaking and leadership skills, which in turn build
Personal leadership and personal growth? No, that's not.
very good
That's right.
self-confidence and personal growth. Yes, very good. Sorry, I got it. Now, our meetings are structured. We stick to the time as close as possible, or it's off with our heads. Just kidding. We can get clapped down if we talk too long. So if I talk longer than my allotted time at the beginning of this meeting, I expect to hear you. Everybody clap. And I'll sit down. Now, my next job, aside from letting you know what our mission is to introduce our chosen Toastmaster of the evening who will conduct the program. Please help me warmly welcome Karen Aoki.
Good evening, Golden Speakers and our guest. My job as Toastmaster is to make sure that we adhere to the time and to the matrix. First, I'd like to introduce the role players, starting with our timer. Surya, will you stand up, introduce your role?
Thank you, Karen. My role as timer tonight will be to time each speech. Starting out with the table topics, which are 1 to 2 minute speeches, where the green light turns on at 1 minute, the yellow light turns on at 1 minute and 30 seconds, and the red light turns on at 2 minutes and remains on until the end of the speech. Then we will get to the prepared speeches section, which are usually 5 to 7 minutes, but also in some cases tonight a little bit longer, 10 to 12 minutes. We have one speech. These, but in the case of the usual 5 to 7 minute speeches, the green light turns on at 5 minutes, the yellow light turns on at 6 minutes, and the red light turns on at 7 minutes. Remains on until the end of the speech. Then for the evaluations, which are usually 3 minutes, the green light turns on at 2 minutes, the yellow light turns on at 2 minutes and 30 seconds, and the red light turns on at 3 minutes and remains on until the end of the evaluation. Thank you.
Thank you. Our counter is Jyoti Raj Adhikari.
Hello everyone. My role tonight is to keep track of the filler words such as like, so, but, and, tongue click. And I keep track of pauses, xeroxes. Xerox means if you repeat the same word again and again, and false start, like that. And at the end of the meeting, I give the report about your things. Thank you.
All right, And now our grammarian, Sally.
As grammarian for this evening, it is my role to choose a word, define it, use the word in a sentence, and then take notes of the speeches here tonight for the proper use of grammar, use of this word, and phrases that I find interesting. So in deciding for the word for this evening, I took a look at our theme for tonight, the pursuit of excellence. The Olympics remain the most compelling search for excellence that exists in sports and maybe for life. Then I looked up the definition of excellence and chose a synonym for our word of this evening, fineness. As an adjective, fineness is of superior quality, skill, or appearance. As a noun, the proportion of pure precious metal in an alloy, often expressed in parts per thousand. So my sentence that I'm using this word in is, our Fairfield Toastmasters Golden Speakers Club has many members of superior quality and skills of being speakers who are as precious quality as the finest of the metal alloy of gold.
Wow.
Whoa!
Thank you for raising our club to the level of fineness. Okay, our general evaluator tonight will be Stephanie Chambers. Our greeter and joke master is Jeff Shipley. And our ballot and leader counter is also Jeff Shipley. We'll be hearing from these role players at the end of the meeting. Now we'll move to the table topics section of the meeting. Our table topics master is Art Atkinson.
Yo!
Thank you, Karen. Good evening, Toastmasters, guests, and viewers at home. Tonight's topic is very juicy, the search of excellence. The quote being a paean to the Olympics as the finest example of search for excellence in sport and perhaps in all of life. I have a number of questions prepared about the subject of excellence, and I would enjoy having a volunteer who would like to speak about that general topic, and I'll give you a question. Who would like to be the first? Jean.
All right.
So pick a number between 1 and 6.
4.
Is excellence possible in any field of human endeavor? Tell us about 1 or 2 fields in which excellence is most important or appealing to you.
Say that again.
Is excellence possible in any field of human endeavor or all fields of human endeavor? Tell us about 1 or 2 fields of endeavor in which you find excellence to be particularly important or appealing to you.
It's such an excellent topic, excellence. You're supposed to note that similarity in the tone. I want to make a quick distinction, though, between excellence and perfection, because it's been said that perfection is not really possible. And I tend to think that, and I tend to think that people that are searching for perfection actually set themselves up for a lot of disappointment and failure because it's almost impossible to achieve. However, the question is about excellence. And I think excellence can be achieved in just about any human endeavor that we can think of. It has to do with refinement. It has to do with taking the activity and the mental process associated with whatever the activity is and putting it through a series of almost screens or refinements that produce fineness of character and accomplishment. That's the first part of the question. The second part of the question is excellence for me. I think one thing that I really like to focus on for excellence is just mental brightness and capacity and intellectual achievement. I have high standards for my brain. I enjoy my brain. For me, it has been a very comfortably high-powered machine that I've enjoyed. And I would miss it if that excellence in my experience of my brain were to diminish. I am focused on keeping my brain at a high level of achievement and excellence from now until well into my 3 digits. That's years. I think that we got that 3 digits. And I think that's a challenge for all of us, actually, because that will make life on the planet and amongst ourselves and our community really the most fulfilling, that we can have excellence as a value in our pursuit. Thank you, Mr. Tabletop Master.
Next. Would like to wax eloquent about excellence.
Am I being called on?
Would you like to?
You have no choice.
Saved by time.
Good evening, Tom. Pick a number.
You pick one.
2.
2 is good.
What does excellence in elected office look like to you?
Mr. Table Topics Master, fellow Toastmasters, honored guests, viewers at home. Excellence in office. Excellence is a standard that essentially is self-set. It's only valuable to ourselves. It's what we set as a standard that we can achieve, and that we put our attention, our intention, our attention, and our resources. Now, one of the things that I've been noted for at the district, and I've run training sessions about achieving the Distinguished Club Program. And the Distinguished Club Program consists of 10 goals. And I've said it before in this club, I've said it to other clubs, I've said it at the district. Minimum standard for any club is 10. Everybody else looks at 9 as it's the peak of the goal. And my attitude and what I've done as a leader is to say, no. 10 is the minimum acceptable standard, because it creates an atmosphere of leadership, excellence in communication, fineness of soul, fineness of oration, fineness of how you function. And then when you leave your Toastmaster Club, you take that out into your community. It's on YouTube, it's on television. So it's not what you say, it's what you do. You meet your own level of excellence. It's good enough. Mr. Tabletop.
Thank you, Tom. Who else would like to speak about excellence?
Four.
Oh, wait, 4, that's mine.
What does excellence in public speaking look like? Give some examples.
Excellence in public speaking. Well, I guess I'm in the right place to answer that question. I'm looking at the audience. I see lots of excellence in public speaking. This club in particular, as Tom mentioned. Toastmasters, as the grammarian pointed out, fineness. I would say we're about 2-9 fineness. When you're measuring precious metals, there's 1-9, which would be about 90% gold, which is like a Krugerrand. That's like the most popular gold coin in the world. That's a 1-9. Still very good, very valuable. Everyone here knows that gold is valuable, right?
Yes.
Okay. And then there's 2-9, which would be 99%, and then there's 999, or in some rare cases, quadruple 9, which would be 0.999, silver or gold or platinum, what have you. I'd say right now this club's probably at the 2-9 level. You know, we used to be 3.9, we lost the lectern. Maybe if we get our Facebook, you know, going a little bit better, our social media outreach, we could reach that 3.9 standard. But excellence in public speaking, I guess as cliche as this sounds to this group, would be following the Toastmaster model, to be compelling and engaging to the audience, to get that eye contact and bring them in through looking at them in the face and delivering your points succinctly and clearly, so the audience doesn't just hear you, they feel you. You look at their eyes and you go right down in their soul and you yank their heart to whatever communication manipulation you're trying to get at. I mean, there's excellent communicators that have done very, very bad things. There's excellent communicators that are excellent because they lie. Will thinks this is funny. Oh, this is funny.
Roll with it. Keep going.
So yeah, excellence in communication is connecting with your audience and bringing them in so they feel your message. So what you're saying resonates with them. So they're up here with you. Excellence in communication is making them laugh, is sucking out the humor so the comedy is there, is it resonates with that truth, and then you get that ha-ha. And I'll be giving jokes later tonight, and I really look forward to that, and hopefully I can live up to that 999 standard.
If anyone hasn't yet seen the DVD that Ryan Olson got of the World Championships of Public Speaking, Prez Vasilev and others demonstrated excellence in public speaking at the World Championship level. It was just a fabulous evening of inspiration to watch that. We own the DVD as a club, assuming that Ryan has left it.
We have it. We have
We
it.
have it, excellent. We should definitely schedule another evening to watch it. It's worth watching many times. Who would like to speak about the subject of excellence? Annette,
I
Would
don't
you
remember
like?
yet.
Even better music?
you're welcome to if you'd like.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you might just want to throw me out.
So here's a question for you. Tom Peters' famous book, In Search of Excellence, is about the pursuit of excellence in business. Tell us about a business or enterprise that you believe demonstrates excellence.
A business that does.
A business or enterprise of some kind that you believe demonstrates excellence.
Okay, thank you. Well, I hope all of them do. Because we're in business to be excellent and to make money. If you're not making money in business, it's just a hobby. Right. Excellence in business, I don't know what, if you're wanting me to speak to the criteria of what makes an excellent business, but my favorite book on business is Good to Great by Jim Collins. Because in that, he speaks to what I do for people. I help companies to hire the right person for the job and to manage them and retain them so that they will have excellence. Because I believe for any business, if you want the fineness of being the most excellent business in town, the kind of business that people, good people, the best people, will line up to work for, you have to have the right people for the job. As he says, as Jim Collins says, you have to get the right people on the bus. And the one quote that I remember most from that book, I don't know how many of you may have read it, but he takes companies, like he'll take two well-known drugstores. And this one's good, but this one was great. And he does that for 10 different types of businesses. What makes the great one? And the great one is leadership, CEOs who understand their people and know that the most important thing for that company is to get the right people on the bus, the right person for every job in the company. And what he says is, and if you're ever in business, you need to know this and you need to realize this, because a lot of times people who run businesses and work for companies just want to make money and get out there and get customers and But the most important thing is your internal customer. And Jim Collins says, for excellence in business, he says, you've got to remember, people are not your most important asset. The right people are.
check. We have,
We're done.
no, we're done. Okay. Mr. Timer, of the speakers who spoke, do they all qualify? Or-
They all
Okay.
qualify.
Would you read off the names of the
Sure.
speakers?
Jean, Tom, Jeff, and Annette qualified. Anything else?
All finished? We're back. I'd like to invite our table topics evaluator, Dan Craig, for his evaluation of this.
Fellow Toastmasters, honored guests, viewers at home. As usual, we had a very good session of table topics. Excellent questions, Art. And I thought all four people did a really nice job. Jean was first. The first point that I would commend her on is that she began by distinguishing between perfection and excellence, which clarified in my mind the angle of the question, because perfection obviously isn't possible, but excellence is. She also had some good humor, something about her 3 digits. The thing that I would suggest to her is that she greet the audience. Didn't happen this time. The last thing I noticed that was really good was that her response was very well organized. The question had 2 parts. She clearly answered each part very well organized in a short time. Tom was good in very many ways. He greeted the audience. He had good gestures as usual. I think at one point he said standards, and that really stuck out for me. Good pauses. We should all remember our pauses because they are very powerful. The only thing I'd suggest for Tom is that I know segueing is perfectly legal, but I was quite interested to hear your response to the question about excellence in elected office. I thought that would have been, maybe that was just too much for you. Jeff was third. He had a couple of good things. He asked a rhetorical question of the audience. He said, does everybody know what? Does everybody like gold? Does everybody want gold? I can't remember. But anyway, obviously a question to the audience brings them in. A couple of things I'd suggest for you. You also needed to greet the audience. You spoke a little fast, and I would have liked to have seen a pause here and there. But you had some good demonstration of eye contact when you spoke about that. You had a very good ending, and I can't, oh yes, excellence is connecting with your audience. So I thought that wrap-up was quite strong. And finally, we had Annette. Thank you for standing up for us, and did a very nice job. What I particularly liked about your talk was that you organized it in reference to a book that you like a great deal called Good to Great. And in doing so, you kept a very organized talk for us. That was a good way to organize. The one small thing I'd recommend for you is regarding eye contact. You're very good at speaking to the whole room, but I'd like to see you shift your attention a little slower. Give people more of the feeling they're being connected with. And the last thing I would commend is that you had a good quote from the book to wrap up your talk. Very well done. Thank you.
Now, we will have our prepared speeches. Our first speaker is Scott Terry, but first I'd like to call upon Cindy, who will be his evaluator.
Scott Terry tonight is working from the storytelling manual. He's doing project number 4. It's the touching story. His objectives are to understand the techniques available to arouse emotion and to become skilled at arousing emotions while telling a story. Scott is a psychologist.
Oh.
And family, he specializes in family psychology. And he's moved to Fairfield within the last 3 or 4 years. And he's been a prior member in a different club where he used to live. And he brings a lot of experience with him to the lectern and to the stage. Please join me in warmly welcoming Scott Carey.
Do you ever have one of those times in your life where it's not one step forward, one step back, but one step forward, one step back, one step forward, one step back, and the more you try to get out, the more you are kind of rapidly in the same place over and over again? Thank you, Ms. Toastmaster, guests, viewers at home. I was having one of these times in my life. Everything I was doing was frantic, trying to do more and more and accomplishing less and less. I'm getting my black belt in Kung Fu, and I'm actually pretty damn good. Except, most of the time, I'm so spaced out, which is kind of dangerous when you're going against people that, there's this one guy, 6'6", 250 pounds, a boxer. It was not easy. And it wasn't easy because I was trying to finish my dissertation. I was arguing with the school about my second master's that they wouldn't give me at the time. I started my second doctorate because I was bored with my first. I had 3 dissertations under my belt, and I still couldn't get out of this place. It was an Olympics. And I had gone through 2 of them, and I was about to start my 3rd set of Olympics without getting a medal. It had been that long. There's no way out of this quagmire. I have a private practice, which means I live with this thing. I actually go to sleep with the phone on and get calls all night. I work 14-hour days at a hospital before I start my private practice. I didn't sleep, I didn't eat, I didn't take care of myself, and I was broke. Really bad. And then one day, I get a call. One of those calls that you really don't want to get. It's from my sister, who says, my dad's in the hospital. And it's bad. It's really bad. They were going from Fort Lauderdale to the Black Sea, not far from where the Olympics are now. My dad got a bad pneumonia and something else, because that's something else we didn't know and wouldn't know for some time to come. And they let him off in Belfast. And she's calling me to ask me, could I go? And I'm like looking around and like, what? Go? What? I can't even sleep. I have... And so I went. And I put the phone down, and I put my life away. And I'm in Ireland. And it's amazing. It's amazing to let go sometimes. And to really get it. To really get the power. The real power. I see my dad at the hospital with my mom, who's staying at some hotel by herself, freaking out. And I say to my dad, who was blown away by the fact that I was there, that we're here to have an adventure. And tomorrow, we're going home. Tomorrow, we're going on an adventure. It didn't make any sense, but that's what we did. And the next day, I walked over to the hospital and I picked him up. Just me and him. And my mom was waiting for us back at the hotel for the 10-minute bus ride to get back, or cab ride. We took 3.5 hours to walk home because we don't take cabs. We're having fun. We're on an adventure. And it didn't matter they got out of the hospital because he got the message that the mind is more powerful than the body. He got it. And so did I. See, I would do this all the time. Same thing I would do with my grandmother, who was 100 years old at the time. And everyone was thinking she's so fragile, and they'd literally take her from the car door, almost lifting her back to her room. Me, I'd park a block, maybe 2 away, and we would walk, no matter what the weather. Because she gets it. And yeah, we're not walking fast. We're barely even moving. And I'm pretty much holding her the whole way. But she's going to get strong. And I'm going to get strong. And it's going to happen now. And so we walk 3.5 hours to an adventure. And every day for the next 10 days, we have the adventure of our life. Every day. And sometimes there'd be small adventures, like walking through town and going through a magnificent church and a section of town that nobody had been in. And we'd go to a pub with really good food, with the greasy fishing chips that you could feel, and the black Guinness bubbling through the brown foam, making a great pattern. And when my mom wasn't looking, I'd give them a taste. Because that's what we do. We're an adventure. And sometimes we'd go to a big adventure. We'd go see the hexagonal rocks, like towers to the gods, growing out of the green, the rich, fluorescent green seaweed below it. And he got stronger, and I got stronger, and I got the message, and he got the message, that it was time. And this is before the cancer comes. And his life is going to end. It's before my life almost ends. But the message is now set in stone. And so when the cancer comes, or my disaster comes, or this or that happens in our lives, we get the message, who we really can be. What's our power? It's here. If I stub my toe, it's not the toe that hurts. My brain that picks up the signal. I'm full or not full, not based on my stomach, but on my head getting the signal. It's a lesson we teach everybody. And so I go home, and I go back to my world, and I get the message. And the message is really about for all of us. Who are we all creating ourselves to be? And I carry him to this day. I carry him into every session I do. I carry him, and I cry, and I feel it. And we all know who we all need to be now. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Stephen Harper. I'd like to call up Jean Craig, who will be the evaluator. I'd like to call up Jean Symington Craig.
Yes.
To be this evaluator. Thank you.
Fellow Toastmasters, guests, and viewers at home, thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Stephen is doing the project number 3 in the Competent Communicator Manual titled Get to the Point. The objectives for the speech are to select a speech topic and determine its general and specific purposes, to organize the speech in a manner that best achieves those purposes, to ensure that the beginning, body, and conclusion reinforce those purposes, and to project sincerity and conviction and control any nervousness that he may feel. He is to strive not to use notes. That is his assignment. Stephen Harper is adjunct faculty in the Business Administration at MUM, Business Administration Department at MUM. He is a TM teacher and ordained minister and president of Harper Investment Properties, a real estate investment firm. His topic tonight, title, is Your Inner Champion. Please help me warmly welcome Stephen Harper.
Thank you, Jim. Have you ever considered that yes you, may be a champion, a world champion? You may be. If you haven't, consider it now. We've been watching the Olympics. How many people have been watching the Olympics this week, last couple of weeks? These champions really inspire us, don't they? Yeah. See these people, they've been training all their lives. They selected sports that are really meaningful to them, things that they really love to do, they're passionate about. And they spend the time working over and over and over, training, getting inspired, working with coaches. They develop their peak potential, their peak ability for a goal of becoming the best in the world for a moment. And does that inspire you? Do people feel inspired by that? I feel inspired. Anybody else feel inspired? Yeah, totally. Because what stops us from becoming the champions that we've always dreamed that we wanted to be? What stops us? Yeah, there you go. The thought, thinking, the thought. Oh, it's too hard. I can't do that. It's too big a dream. It's too far away. And here are people that are doing it. And you know, really, they're just like us. They have brains. They have bodies. They have consciousness. They have heart. They have soul. Just like us. And we could take inspiration from what they do and apply it to what do we want to do. Now, we don't want to live anybody else's dream. Anybody else's dream would be wrong for us. It would be like following someone else's dharma. You know what dharma is, what your calling is, your purpose in life, what your unique abilities are, your skills, what you can be a champion at. It's very important that we choose what we want to be champions at. But you know, these champions, these Olympic champions, a lot of them say, I just wanted to stand on that platform and get a medal. And you see them, they have that moment of glory on the platform, and they have a medal. But is that championship? I don't think so. I'm going to read a quote from Craig Pearson's recent book called The Supreme Awakening, which is a masterpiece, by the way. Craig is a master champion writer, about the world champion Billie Jean King. She was a world champion tennis player, and she said that perfect moment happens in all sports. It's a perfect combination of a violent action taking place in an atmosphere of total tranquility. My heart pounds, my eyes get damp, my ears feel like they're wiggling, but it's also just totally peaceful. And when it happens, I want to stop the match and grab the microphone and shout, that's what it's all about, because it is. It's not the big prize I'm going to win at the end of the match, or anything else. It's just having done something that's so totally pure and having experienced the perfect emotion. So what is it that makes championship? It's what they do. It's what the people do. And it isn't just sports competition. The word championship is used, or champion is used to describe people who are great leaders and champions of the poor. Nelson Mandela, Martin Luther King, Mother Teresa. Fact is, anybody and everybody can be a champion and is at least a potential champion at something important. And that act of championship happens in the now. It happens when you're in action doing it. just like Billie Jean King, hitting that ball with absolute clarity and peaceful tranquility. It's when we get into our zone, when we get into our state of self-actualization, where we are fulfilling our purpose in the universe. We've got to connect with that universal consciousness that we all are, ultimately, to know what that purpose is, to let that purpose move us to our greatest achievement, to our greatest fulfillment, and our greatest gift to the universe and to the world. This is true championship. And everybody can do it every moment of every day. Right now, you can be championship listeners, taking in what I'm saying and applying it to your own life and being inspired. You can listen to the child who's sad and needs to be consoled. I say the person who does that is the greater champion than the ones that are glorified on the TV screens. I say those people who help people in need, like Mother Teresa, who said there are no great things to do, only very small things, but done with great love, infinite love, unrestricted love, unbounded love, the love that we all have within us. She became a champion in the moment that she carried a dying man off the street of India into a bed where he could be cared for and die with dignity. This is the kind of champion we all actually are and can be every day and every moment, because there's purpose in everything that we do. Everything is important. It's all divine. We are living in a world of divinity. We are living in an ocean of love. And when we connect with that love and let it move us, then we'll know what all true champions know, that it is not the outer victory that is the greatest victory, but it is surrender. Surrender to that infinite love within us. Surrender to that infinite power within us. That surrender is the greatest victory. And then we will walk in grace, in enlightenment. And what Jesus Christ said about each of us will be true. He said, what did he say? Ye are gods. Ye are more than champions. You are gods. And greater works than these, greater works than the miracles that he did, greater works than these shall you do. And that greater work can be breathing. That greater work can be loving. It can be paying attention. It can be being and creating peace within you, peace in the world, peace in your community. Thank you very much.
Now we'll take 2 minutes to evaluate the speaker. Our next speaker is Will Burns. I'd like to call up Tom Trainer, who will be his evaluator.
Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, honored distinguished guests, viewers at home. Tonight, Will is doing project number 10 in the Competent Communicator Manual. Yay!
Yeah.
Except for one little thing. He's still got to do 8 and 9. But the event tonight required Will to step up to do number 10, inspire your audience. The speaker is to inspire the audience to improve personally, emotionally, professionally, and spiritually. He's going to rely heavily on emotional appeal. The speech should appeal to noble motives and challenge the audience to achieve a higher level of beliefs or achievement. He's going to use all the skills that he's learned up through number 7. And he's going to not use his notes if he can help it. Will has been a member of Golden Speakers for just 3 years. He was a member, then he became the secretary, then he was the president, and now he's the club past president. He's going to speak tonight on selflessness, service, and something else. And we could even include fineness in that topic. So please join me in warmly welcoming Will Burns, and he will speak for 10 to 12 minutes. Will Burns.
Thank you, Toastmasters, honored guest, viewers at home. Who can tell me what the tagline, the new tagline of Toastmasters is? Karen.
Where leaders are made.
Yes, where leaders are made. We will try to not use his notes. This new orientation goes in with the growth and development here at Toastmasters, where we become more nuanced thinkers, more articulate speakers, and more dynamic leaders. We exercise leadership when we motivate ourselves to prepare, practice, and deliver a speech, when we take ownership of a role in a meeting, and when we serve as an officer in the club. All of these are important, but tonight I will speak about this last one and take you behind the curtain. Basic information here from the top. Officers serve in the executive committee. That meets 6:30 the first Tuesday of every month, unless otherwise decided. Meeting to speak on business related to their field, so each officer to their field, education, membership, public relations for their officers. They discuss and decide on a course of action and then implement that change. The assistants to this are an important part, but are not required to attend every meeting. However, they are called in to consult when necessary. I will take questions at the end, but now we'll go into each division. The president sets the tone for the meetings. As president, you would provide guidance and direction to the actions of the officers and assistants and make sure that things get done. The next is the VP of Education. Dan is currently serving in that role. As VP of Education, you schedule member speeches, projects, and serve as a resource for questions about educational awards, speech contests, and the mentor program. You are an important source of Toastmasters knowledge for club members, and it is your job to become familiar with all aspects of the Toastmasters education program. Now, this is a great course for developing your own understanding of the educational material, I'm sure Dan can attest, and for teaching you to be organized, because it is a monumental task to organize it every week. And Dan does a great job. Thank you, Dan. You're just looking a little tired there. Why don't you stand up for a minute? Shake it off. Get up. Up. This is probably kind of a dry speech, but I'm still going to do my best to inspire you. Shake it off. Feeling better? Have a seat. VP of Membership is next. Karen does a great job in that role. She promotes the club, greets new guests, inspires them to go from being guests to members, and basically controls the whole mentorship program as well, which is how we guide. I'm going to let Karen speak for a few minutes about her experiences as an officer in the VP of Membership.
At first, I agreed to be an officer because I thought that it was a way to increase my skills in leadership. And so I kind of had the mentality, this is how I'm going to give to the club. But I was surprised to find two things. I was actually in the position of receiving. What happened was, first I realized how dedicated the group of officers were. So I was very inspired, and my heart began to expand. And that's when I realized I was really drawn to this club. In fact, it moved me into a place of investing. And instead of just sitting on the sidelines and coming to the meetings, I actually felt moved to be a part of this organization. So I would say the first thing that developed was a deep caring. It was a heart value. And the second thing was, this is where I got to practice skills that I don't get to practice as a student. So far, I'm 30 years old, but I've been in school most of my life. And in the school arena, we don't really get to practice skills that are actually what you're going to need on a job. Organizing, showing up for meetings, taking ownership of responsibilities, and showing passion for what you're doing. So these are the benefits of becoming an officer.
Yay!
Thank you, Karen. Karen is one of our newer members and officers. And what she brings as an officer is a fresh perspective, a motivation and passion to get things done, and to bring the club forward into new directions, new angles. Now I'll talk about our VP of PR. That position is currently filled by Jeff. This involves speaking to the community, engaging them. Whereas membership, hey, how you doing? Welcome to the club. Jeff is putting out the brand, the message of Toastmasters to the world, or at least Southeast Iowa. This requires you, let me back up here for a minute. Membership requires you to be very outgoing, or, let me back up even more, requires you to have the desire to be outgoing, because you can actually be fairly shy and use that as a tool to grow, because that's what we're all about here at Toastmasters, growth. PR requires you to express yourself in a slightly more abstract way, both on our Facebook, on our website, and then in press releases to the media. Next, I'll speak about our treasurer. This involves somebody who manages the finances, makes sure that the debts that we do incur are paid so that we can continue to function and operate. This is a job that is not as heavy, quote, as other jobs, but it requires a fine eye for detail and a promptness, shall we say. I'm actually going to call Art Atkinson up here to talk a little bit about his experience as an officer, as the current treasurer, and the VP of PR.
Thank you, Will. Some time ago, several years as a matter of fact, I volunteered to be the VP of PR. My motivation at the time was simply to fill a vacuum. We needed one. I thought I could do this. It turned out to be a lot of fun to engage the radio station, to engage the newspapers in town, and to write articles about what we're doing in the club. And I had an unexpected amount of fun, and I left things such that the next VP of PR, which I believe was Lydia Cole, could launch and do a spectacular job. She had way more talent for it really than I. It had been in disrepair, and I think I managed to get it onto pretty good footing, and then Lydia took off and did a spectacular job with it. More recently, I agreed to be treasurer, and I agreed to be treasurer again to take care of something that I knew I could handle, and that it was critical for the club, and that it had been in a state of a little bit of disrepair. The job is actually one of very great amount of detail of getting things right. But a lot of the job of the treasurer actually is very closely connected with VP of membership type activity, because it involves keeping all of our records at the headquarters about our membership and dues that have been paid and so on. Keeping all of that up to date and in order and correct, and notifying all of you, managing all of the things that allow for the VP of Education to get emails out to everybody. This is the agenda for the week's meeting, as an example. So the treasurer's job is one that I enjoy. It's easy for me to do, and easy for me to teach someone else to do, which is something I'm looking forward to doing. My experience of being a part of the Executive Officers Committee is that it's great to be part of a small team that really works together. I've realized sometime within the past couple of years that a passion that I have is just being part of a finely functioning team. And in this club, the executive officers have been working in the past year very much as a functioning, finely functioning team.
Thank you, Art. Art is a pillar of this club. He provides a deep level of experience. You just heard speak about opening up the opportunities and being able to let other people, by his own actions, step forward as well. He has done an incredible amount of, he has done yeoman's work in engaging members, engaging other organizations, getting members engaged, and bringing new people in. Furthermore, his experience allows him to understand the conventions and the procedures of Toastmasters and to speak up, as he's done in the past, when we're not meeting the fine standard, the 999 standard, as Jeff would say. These next two roles are important and will become even more important as we move into our new space. As secretary, you will maintain all club records, manage club files, handle the correspondence, and take the minutes of each club. You were here at the business meeting, you heard Monty read the business minutes. That is what you'll be doing, is taking those down, recording those. It requires a good ear and the ability to segment things into thought processes, or into pieces. Finally, as Sergeant of Arms, your duty is to track the materials that come in and out of the space, make sure everything is put up and down. And let me stress that these duties, the assistants assist in this. So as a Sergeant of Arms, you would not be expected to do all of this work in a new place. You would have help. Okay, you've heard from me, from two of our officers. Any questions? Seeing none, I have one question for you. What can you do?
Okay, in lieu of evaluation, Will has an assignment for us during this 2-minute period. Would you like to talk about the piece
Sure,
of paper?
yeah.
Okay.
Okay, you all should have a sheet there in front of you. If you don't, I will get you one. Please state what field you would like to be willing to assist the club in. Now, I'm not asking you to become an officer necessarily. I'm asking you to state which of those that I've discussed you'd be willing to kind of assist in. And also be an officer. Just put your name down for whatever fields and bring them to me.
Question.
Yes,
Can
questions?
you select more than one option?
You certainly may.
And then order preference?
Yes,
Do you have extra forms?
I do.
Was there? Okay. Stephanie Chambers, would you come up to lead the next portion, which is evaluation?
And I'll be running the evaluation portion of the meeting. So first off, I'd like to ask Sawyer to give. No?
Are we
Oh,
voting
sorry,
for speakers now?
Sorry,
No.
I'll introduce the evaluators first. Sorry. So I'll introduce Cindy, who's going to evaluate Scott Taylor.
Fellow Toastmasters, honored and esteemed guests and viewers at home. Scott tonight told us a touching story. For this project, he was to prepare and present an original story designed to evoke emotion among his listeners, using description and dialogue. He was not supposed to use a script or notes when telling the story. It suggested it. Okay. That's, the last part is for the evaluator. But that was Scott's project, was to prepare and present an original story to evoke emotion among the listeners. Did any of you feel anything when Scott was speaking?
Yeah.
Was it his words, his descriptive language, was that what caused or provoked the feeling within you?
That's part of
It is part of the description. I liked, Scott, how you used the word now when you were saying be, in your present mind. The tone of your voice was very commanding and demanding. And I liked how the emphasis, now, be, do it now. The dialogue that you used, which pulled the emotion in my heart, was the smell and the feel of the oily fish and chips. Food sometimes has that really unctuous and the smell of it, and the Guinness beer bubbling through the foam. Just food, visual images like that, and also the sea, the greenness of everything, which were images that we may have seen or experienced. The question here was, did your story contain the basic elements of setting, characters, plot, conflict, and action? Well, the conflict that I found was within you, with your life, and then all of a sudden you get the phone call. So, like you were being asked to drop everything. And you did, of course. But what was missing was any dialogue. I would have liked to have heard you have, well, I guess you did a little bit with your sister, like she said and I said. So there was some dialogue there. But what I would like to have learned more about your father before his illness. Was he a robust man? So that we could see like the before and the after image of him that could have set up the dichotomy of why you went there and what going on these adventures was, why they were so important. But I liked your word usage. It was very visual for me. So I'm very interested in hearing more about your adventures with your dad. May I go to the general evaluator?
Thank you, Cindy. And now I'll ask.
We skipped voting for the best speaker.
Oh. Okay, would everyone like to take a moment to write down who they felt was the best speaker? Now I'll call up Jean Summerton Craig for her evaluation of Stephen Harper.
Go!
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator, fellow Toastmasters, guests, and viewers at home, and particularly Stephen. Stephen is obviously a very accomplished speaker. He's just inhabits the space, he inhabits the words. It's just a delight to watch him. Wouldn't you agree? Mm-hmm. Very, very pleasurable experience. This project number 3, Get to the Point, is a writing project. It has to do with construction around a general and a specific purpose, and then points that support those purposes, and then a conclusion. So it's really about constructing a logical development of that. So that's what I'm going to focus on. And then I'm going to say some things. What I noticed was that I had a little trouble, and Stephen, I'll just mention this is just my opinion, that couldn't identify the general purpose and the specific purpose. An example would be, I wasn't sure if I was going to be told how to be a champion. That would be an informative purpose. Or whether I was being persuaded to go for it, which would be a persuasion, or whether I was being inspired to just become a champion. And those are key general purposes there. Wasn't clear on that at the beginning. Also the specific purpose. The manual gives an idea, just an example, and if a topic doesn't fit a particular project, then maybe try a different topic. But just as an example, Stephen could have said, after hearing my presentation, you will have a clear understanding of how to develop your own inner champion. Okay, so that would be the informative, is the general purpose, and I'm going to be told how to, and now I'm interested because I know what I'm going to get out of this speech. I want to make sure there's a value in it for the audience so they know what's going to happen for them and why they should be listening up front. So given that I had some haziness around the purpose, all the rest of my comments, because Stephen was very good deliverer of all the points he made, but it's all going to tie back to being kind of out of focus for me. The organization, so these are all relate to the purpose. So I've given my comments on that. Did the speaker appear confident and sincere with minimal nervousness? Absolutely, I starred that one, and he didn't rely on notes. I want to say there was something about championships. He starts dreaming everywhere. Are we all dreaming how to be a champion, how to become one? I think that it would be stronger speech if, because he started out with the Olympics, and I'm thinking, well, there's a certain kind of champion I'm getting in mind here. You know, it requires a certain amount of dribbling or strokes or whatever. But he was going into a different kind of champion to maybe segue from a larger body of what champions are to talking about really, but there's an even more powerful champion or a different kind of champion. It's your inner champion, and where does that come from? To kind of rule out all of that. Yeah. So, anyways, but what I really liked about it, I always come down to this is effortless gestures and vocal variety. He was quiet, he was loud, he paused, he changed his pitches. I mean, he's just totally integrated in that way. Word choice, great variety in vocabulary. References to other kinds of champions. Billie Jean, yes, one of my favorites. Mother Teresa. I mean, he's quoting and he's giving all that credibility, and just his smooth, enthusiastic delivery. Love that. Thank you.
Thank you, Jude, for that evaluation. Now I'll call up Tom Trainer with his evaluation of Will Billings.
Madam General Evaluator, fellow Toastmasters, honored distinguished guests, but most especially Will. TV audience at home also will include them. Selflessness, service, and something else. I'm going to start with what's at the end. What could you have done to make your speech better? How about start with stating your goal? I'm going to inspire you to be an officer, and I'm going to give you reasons why. Then you've stated the stage. You've done what Jean just talked about with Stephen. Why do we want to listen? And that's what the selflessness, that's what the service is about, that's what the something else is about. So start with that. The other thing that you could have done differently is have a stronger close. Are you going to be selfless enough to do the service to gain the benefit that you just heard our existing officers talk about? That's your close, okay? Pull it in, make it tight, make it work. That's inspiration. The rest of it, was it relevant? Yes, it's excellent. Understand and express feelings? Yes, excellent. Forceful, confident. That's over the top excellent. We give you 4 stars for that, Will. There's only 3, but we give 4. Effectively use stories. Yes, this is really difficult to do, to bring others into your speech, not knowing that they're going to stay within time, and make them work for you. So that is a very powerful way to get others, because you're using other people to make it work for you. Excellent way of getting what you wanted across. Body language was good. It enhanced your message. Your ability to uplift, I would say you still need to work on it, because you haven't done speech number 9, which is persuade with power. Guess what? Guess what you're going to do next? Number 9, persuade with power. What did I really like about what you did? You had a lot of enthusiasm. You had a good structure. You covered a lot of bases. You gave us a lot of reasons. And I really liked the way you used others to help sell your story. Because you're selling something that has infinite benefits. Madam General Evaluator.
all take a moment to vote for the best evaluator, but first I'll check with Sue. Did they all qualify? The table topics?
No. Cindy and Tom qualify.
Okay, so Cindy, you qualified. Dottie. So now I'll ask Sawyer to report on the times.
Thank you, thank you. It's a great pleasure to be a timer tonight. First, the times for the table topics. We have Jean with 2 minutes and 8 seconds, Tom with 2 minutes and 1 second, Jeff with 2 minutes and 7 seconds, Annette with 2 minutes and 4 seconds. For the speeches, we have Scott with 8 minutes and 4 seconds, Stephen with 7 minutes and 17 seconds, and Will Burns with 12 minutes and 15 seconds. For the table topics evaluator, we had Dan Craig doing that role tonight, and it took him 3 minutes and 19 seconds. For the speech evaluators, we had Cindy with 3 minutes and 26 seconds, Jean with 3 minutes and 41 seconds, and Tom with 2 minutes and 29 seconds. Thank you.
Unfortunately, because of all those times, we're running a bit short tonight in terms of time. So if you could just be a little quick in your reports. I'll ask Jody to do the counter report.
Good evening, everyone. Again, my report is a little longer, so I might take more than 2 minutes. Cindy, 2 off, 3 you know, 1 so, 3 and, 1 pause, 1 Xerox, 1 false start. Karen, 1 up, 1 Surya, 2 off. Sally, 1 up, 1 Art, 1 so. Jean, 1 1 up. 3 ands, and 1 Xerox. Tom, 1 Jeff, so, and, Xerox. Annette, 1 up. Dan, 2 pauses, very long pauses. Scott Terry, 1 light, and so many ands, I stopped counting. And still, 3 ands, you also have a lot of ands, this continuous sentence and this one and this one and this one. And 3 Xerox and 2 false start. Will Bonds, 2 ands, 2 false start. And Stephanie Chambers, 2 serve. Thank you.
Thank you, Jody.
Art, Jean, Jeff, and Annette all used our word for this evening, finest, once. Tom used it twice. I like the phrase from Jean, my brain is a high-powered machine. I kind of feel that way about myself sometimes. Breaks my heart. Tom, excellence is a standard that is self-set. Meet your own level of excellence. Jeff's phrase, excellence is connecting with the audience. Speak such that the audience not only hears you, but feels your message. Annette, excellence in business. You have to get the right people on the bus. People are not your most important asset. The right people are. Scott, it's amazing sometimes to let go. The mind is more powerful than the body. But just a little correction perhaps. When you were talking about taking your father on an adventure, you said me and him. You might want to replace that with my father and I. Thank you.
Yo. All right, fellow Toastmasters, I take this job as joke master very seriously, so I ripped off a comedy routine from a comedian I admire very much named Mitch Hedberg. He died in 2005 when he decided he'd rather inject himself with heroin than live in his corporeal body. So I'll cut this down. Delivery is like the most fun thing. So I got this pen. I paid $7 for it. There's really nothing to it. I just lose pens all the time and got sick of not caring. All right, anyway. Thank you. I was walking down the street. I was on the square with my friend, and he said, "Oh, I hear music. I hear music." I said, "So what? You're not special. That's really the only way you can take it in." What, are you gonna try and taste music? That's not gonna work out very well. So we went to the concert, right? And the lead singer, he did this stage dive into the crowd. I thought, wow, that's really dangerous. But then I got to thinking, well, those are human beings. They're 65% water, so he was like 2/3 his way to a pool, so he'll be all right. Yay! Yay!
Okay, time for awards. Let's start with, I don't know what it is yet. Best table topics, we have, go ahead, drum roll. Jeff Shipley. Okay, best speaker tonight, drum roll. Scott? Terry.
Yeah. No other ribbons tonight.
Oh,
That's enough.
Okay, the best evaluator tonight, Tom Trainer.
woo!
Okay, get to the point ribbon goes to Stephen Harper.
Yay!
Yeah.
And number 10, inspire your audience, Will Burns. Now I'd like to call up the club president, Ron the Whitaker.
Yo!
Thank you, Karen, for conducting the meeting and everyone for contributing to us getting finished on time. There is a little bit of business tonight concerning an ad we may place in the Fairfield Weekly Reader to announce our new location. I would like to make a motion that we have a person in the club develop a box ad to put in the Fairfield Weekly Reader next week.
I'll second the motion.
Thank you. All in favor say
Wait,
aye.
is there a discussion? Is there a discussion?
Okay, discussion.
I'll entertain discussion. I think we should approve this motion, but if we can get free advertising, you know, we can approve the expenditure but not necessarily use it, I think would be. So we should provide the officers with flexibility in going forward, but if possible, we should try and earn as much media as possible to avoid an incurment of debt on the club, would be my opinion.
Shouldn't we do it just the week before we move? Because people here don't remember things more than a week in advance.
That is the week before we move.
Next week is the week we move.
I don't know.
The 4th, it's 2 weeks away. Yeah.
So,
Jean,
in the discussion, do we know if we can get an article in the Fairfield Weekly Reader about the
she'll put the news under Around Town Community News. She edited it today, but we have to place a box ad.
Oh.
So
Sorry, I was
So we
mistaken.
can have that Around Town in this week's, and then we put a box ad in next week's.
Is the Around Town just that little tiny print that
No,
is the...
it's the first or second page,
Oh,
and you
gotcha,
get
gotcha,
about
gotcha.
150 words.
Right.
And it looks good.
What's the cost of the box ad? Since I've forgotten what the cost.
56.
Yeah, thank you.
One time.
The treasurer would
One
like
time.
to know.
Yeah. Just
What's the number? Do we know?
56-ish.
56.
Close enough.
That's about a
Will
half
it be
of our
the back?
net
Will it
worth.
be on the back on the poster page or?
Yes, it'll be on the
So
poster
it's
page.
that
Or it can be
size?
in the middle. I'd have to ask her, I don't know yet. Where do you want it, Jean?
Well, I know the back page is the one that usually costs 55, 56. Does that seem to be more
Yes.
visible than
Yes.
somewhere buried? So if she's asking us to pay that, we could just say we want it on the poster page then.
Right? Do we have to have it on the poster page?
Yes.
I think for that,
Okay.
for those dollars.
All right?
I mean, if it's gonna be, unless
it's
she's thinking
cheaper,
something
would it-
smaller.
Would you be okay with it being in the middle of the paper if it's cheaper?
I don't know, what do you think?
Okay. This is a big
Go for
deal
the
that
gold.
we're moving, $56. And there
Can't
is
you just
another,
email everybody and tell them?
Well, we have to tell the world, it's not us, our
Not just
uh,
members, we want
us.
the world to know where we are.
Everybody else that might want to come.
our,
Just point of information. Currently, we sit on $131 in some sense, and we will have $20 to pay to Hy-Vee immediately on the 4th. So we have
111.
111.
Next 3 weeks from now, you'll be loaded.
Okay.
What else are you gonna spend it on?
All in favor?
Well, I withdraw my previous comments. I guess I wasn't understanding the whole entire situation.
Everybody in Fairfield
This is
watches this
discussion,
show,
it's
don't
okay.
they? So they know.
Discussion.
All in favor of passing the motion? Tom?
Yes, I'm in favor.
Oh,
Yeah, okay, so.
all in favor? Jean? Oh, all right, say aye if you're in
Aye.
favor.
Aye!
The motion passes. Oh, the nays we aren't even gonna hear from tonight.
No, no, I didn't hear a word.
Roger's
One
Rules of
more.
Order.
We need a committee to write an article for the Fairfield, not Fairfield, but the Fairfield Daily Ledger will post an article for us on our move and on our 25th anniversary. I think they should be two separate articles personally.
Yes.
Is there anyone here who would be interested in serving on a committee with Jeff to arrange this public relations? Annette, you have to be a member on
I'm
some.
gonna join, but I lost the application form. I need another
Well,
one.
we
You got
can,
the
we
money?
can take care of that.
We'll take care of that, we'll get you money.
Sally, okay, Annette and Sally.
When is it though? Because I wanna wait till like the 1st of the month. I wanna join the middle of the month.
First of all,
Come, but I don't
First of
wanna-
the month's fine.
Good. I don't know.
Now, can I have 2 more minutes? Are you willing to wait 2 more minutes tonight?
Yep.
I'd like to know who would be interested in being a judge for our speech contest, March 11th. Jean, Art. Annette, I think you have to have done 6 speeches before you can be a judge.
Okay, well, I have, I just haven't done it here.
In Toastmasters?
No,
Okay.
everywhere
That's
else.
the Toastmasters.
Yeah.
So what was it, Jean,
Art.
Art, and Tom will be judges. We need 5 judges.
You're gonna be helping out.
Yeah, I can
Cindy?
do the international speech, but I can be a judge for that.
You can be a judge for one of the contests. And Scott?
I'll do whatever, depending, we had that discussion, we still need to figure out what I can give, so.
Yeah.
Okay.
And,
I'll do whatever you want.
okay, as long as you work with a mentor. You need to be, you've been a judge once, right? And Art has been a chief judge many times, and he can, would you
Mentor Scott.
mentor Scott through the chief judge thing?
Sure.
Make sure that the judges know
We
what
weren't
they're
sure if
doing?
that actually would count, so.
Yes, it will.
that's why I
Yes,
need to
it
check. Oh, okay, okay, fine.
Not as chairman, but as helping with the contest.
Okay.
Project
Whatever-
6, yes.
Whatever you want me to do, I'll do it.
Okay, chief judge with a mentor. Would anyone like to be the Toastmaster of the evening, called contest master, like John Loros did?
That also gets credit in your
That's gonna be
manual.
whoever's organizing the contests can do that.
Can do that, but right now it's me organizing the contest. I'd like to have somebody else get the chance to get up there and, like John did last time.
But they won't get the credit for being a contest chair. Is that,
Well, he didn't get the credit for being contest chair either.
I'm gonna wait, I'm gonna be nice and wait till I get called on.
Jean?
Okay. So if you have a contest chair, you've already, that's what you get the credit for. So someone who needs that and their competent leader is the one that we should get to do that.
Okay,
And
I'll
you can-
mentor them
you
through
can be-
it.
You can be, yeah, exactly. You can help, we all help and it's, like that, but that person needs to be the one
Okay,
on the line.
so, contest chair is open, that position is open. Who hasn't done contest chair before? Raise your hand.
Jeff Shipley.
I think I'm in the contest. Or some other excuse, I'm not sure.
Sir, you're volunteering,
No,
look.
no, wait.
You tricked me.
You could do it. You could do it. No, oh, yes, sorry, you wanted to speak. Sorry.
Whoever's left over gets to be the contest chair.
Whoever's left over gets to be contest chair. Wow, okay, great. All right, that's enough for one night. Are there any further,
Quick
Jean?
motion, did we decide who's gonna do the poster page ad? And
Yeah,
if we,
there's committee.
what?
There's committee.
Oh, I thought that was the article.
The poster page ad, that's a good point.
So I would like to suggest, because Surya did a bang-up job on the special event, that he might be asked to do one, he could probably do it while he's brushing his teeth, you know, sort of. Right? Yeah, he's nodding, yeah, he could do that. So give him the points and then.
Okay.
Madam Chairwoman?
Okay.
I'm the one that spoke to the editor of the Ledger, so the article he was interested in was about the move. He didn't really talk, he didn't know about the 25th year anniversary, so just to clarify, he's looking for an article on the move.
Thank you. Anything else? That concludes the business portion of the meeting tonight. Thank you for being patient and waiting and contributing. One more week here, same time, same place. Everybody have a great week. Adjourned.
Expenditure.